Hey Beth, this is Mike from Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine. Hello. And this is your beautiful Janome new home. And this, I had no idea this was such a cool machine. I serviced this as part of a batch that I did for a show that we did several years ago. We rented a ballroom at a, anyway. She's ready to go. She's sewing great, and this is the final test before we pack her up to ship her out to you. And in this test, we're going to include a tutorial on how to work the various controls. And I get the feeling that you've got a pretty good handle on how to use a sewing machine, but there's a few little things you'll want to know, like how to make this thing pop up and, you know, odds and ends. And also because we're going to upload this video to YouTube for other new homeowners that do not know how to work their machines. So without further ado, we're going to wind a bobbin, and find your bobbin down below the slide plate down here. And it's got this little lever on it that you pull that out, that releases so you can pull the bobbin case out. And your bobbin, of course, is in the bobbin case. And I'm going to take off this old thread because nobody ever uses that 6 feet of leftover thread that they wound over. So bobbin goes on your bobbin winder there. Go around this tension device in a clockwise direction so that you're coming back over the top of your thread as you come back to the bobbin. That adds just enough drag to wind a tidy bobbin. Before you start, you can put several wraps on the bobbin just to hold the thread in place while the bobbin winds. Then with the thread going on from the back in a clockwise direction, then push this little lever in until it seats itself inside the bobbin, and as the bobbin winds, of course, the thread builds up and pushes this lever further and further out until when the bobbin is full, the lever pops out and stops winding so you don't get a tangled mess. Declutch your machine by turning the chrome knob in the center of the hand wheel a quarter of a turn towards you until you feel it hit its stop. Now the hand wheel is disengaged from the rest of the machine so it can wind your bobbin without making the rest of the machine cycle. Alternatively, you can, rather than declutching, or you can have a second spool of thread and let your bobbin wind as you sew and not declutch your machine. So anyway, thread is going from the spool around the front of the spool pin so it crosses back over itself and to the bobbin. And here we go. That should be plenty for our test. Reclutch your machine by tightening the chrome knob Click that finger back out of the bobbin with the thread coming off the top of the bobbin in this direction. The thread coming off the top of the bobbin in this direction. Drop it into your bobbin case and direct the thread into the little slanted slot at the bottom of the bobbin case, into the slot and up under that leaf spring, which is your lower tension, until you feel it click into place. Then with this little finger here pointing up so it goes into the little cutout that's made to hold it, slide it onto the shaft in the center of the hook. To thread the machine. From the spool pin, go into the thread guide on the back, thread guide on the front right end, to the thread guide on the front left end, and between the discs of the tension assembly, all the way around till you pick up this little thin check spring. Keep on pulling until the thread goes into the notch up here at the top. Go behind the big thread guide into the take-up lever from right to left. Down, catch this little thread guide behind the faceplate. And there is no thread guide on the needle clamp, so we're just going to go right through the needle. First I'm going to cut a nice fresh end on there, because those frayed ends tend to push the thread away from that tiny hole in the needle. Nice clean end goes through much easier. Holding your thread loosely, turn your hand wheel towards you 1 full revolution. The needle will take the thread down, or the hook will pick it up, wrap it around the bobbin, and bring up your lower thread. There's your lower thread. Put the thread between the toes of the presser foot towards the back of the machine, and we are ready to sew. Put your fabric under the presser foot, drop the foot using the lever on the back of the machine. This large dial here is your needle home position, and you can see the needle move as I turn this. You can have it not moving the needle. Oh, I see. Get out of zigzag. There we go. So, you can have it on the left side, in the center, or on the right. That way, if you want, you can, whatever seamstresses do with that. I have my ideas, but I do not make clothes, so I would just be guessing. I'm going to leave it set on the center position, and this outer dial here, I believe that S is for straight stitch, and since the left needle home position and the S are both marked in red, it makes me think that that's intended to be straight stitch is done here. Anyway, again, that's a seamstress thing. Beth, I'm sure you know all about that. So anyway, straight stitch. Leave the home position on the center, and get to your stitch pattern cam. To open this little door here, turn this center knob to the left all the way. There you go. That's the main reason for this video, Beth, because I'm sure you already know about everything else here. Then of course, this is I think that has to do with the different stitch pattern cams, the settings of 1, 2, and 3, because it's moving your reverse lever in and out as I turn it. Yeah. So anyway, when you find stitch pattern cams, the center knob there will be for that. Also, on the back here, right here, is a little fine-tuning lever to tune your stitches until you get them just right. This is your stitch width, stitch length, and it goes from 0, where the fabric doesn't move at all, and the thread just wads up underneath the fabric, makes a mess, up into there's a little range here marked in white for satin stitching and buttonholes. Anyway, from 0 to 4, 4 being the longest stitch length. I'm going to leave it at between 1.5 and 2. This is your stitch width down here, and it's spring-loaded to always return to the 0 position, to the straight stitch position. So move it over as far as you want it, and then press in the keeper and slide it over till it meets the lever. And press in and slide the other keeper over until they have it locked in place, then it won't wobble on you. So we're in a straight stitch, and about 1.5 stitches per inch. And here we go. Oh, it's so strong and smooth. This is such a cool machine. I'm going to keep my eye out for more like this. So yeah, you can't see it, but that's a real nice, pretty, well-balanced stitch there. I'm going to take the needle up out of the fabric and add some stitch width. Go all the way up to the widest stitch width. And a nice, neat zigzag, no skip stitches. This is your feed drop. It's got 3 positions. It's got the 0 position where the feed dogs are dropped below the surface of the bed, so they don't come up and touch the fabric at all, and you're moving the fabric by hand for machine embroidery or darning, anything like that. And when you want to do free motion sewing, you also want to release the pressure on your sewing foot by pressing down on this little collar here. And notice that button there popped up. Now the fabric is free to be moved around. To put the pressure back on the sewing foot, press down till the red line meets the collar there. And that's ballpark for regular thread and regular fabric. You may need a little more or a little less pressure depending on what you're sewing. So 0 is all the way down, 1 is up part way, so they're moving the fabric, but they're not as aggressively. You might want to use that for more delicate fabrics, or go all the way up to 2, and then it's just they're coming up and they're moving your fabric as you wish. That's about it. It's a really nice machine. I'm impressed with how smooth and how neat it is. And I think it's going to make a real nice treadle machine because it's pretty free running. I'm going to leave that wide open in stitch width range. Yeah, that's it. I'll get her packed up and get her to you, Beth. And If you have come here from somewhere else and found this video on YouTube, we are Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine. We're on Stagecoach Road out in the Coast Range of Oregon, so we are stagecoachroadsewing.com. And we restore vintage sewing machines. If you have mom's or grandma's machine, or a machine you found somewhere and you would just love to have that machine running and looking like a new machine, go to the website. You can reach us through there. Again, it's stagecoachroadsewing.com, all one word. And also you'll find several machines listed on the website that we either restored or serviced, and they're available for you to bring home to your own sewing room. So again, stagecoachroadsewing.com, and we'll see you there.